heaven, Los Angeles Real fans. Just kidding, it's Venice. This blown out background behind me is because it's so sunny. Today's guest is Bob Dixon, who's been a manager and agent for actors, models, and photographers over the years, and we had a great conversation with him. Hope you enjoyed as much as we did. As always, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and now on iTunes, where you can download our podcast for free. Also, don't forget Christian Monzon made an app for our show for all things LA Real with his own mind grapes. Honor his ass by downloading that. And until the next time, live the dream. Welcome to Los Angeles Real. My name is Thomas Faustine Husking.
I thought you were Thomas. My name is Christian Monzon. We are Los Angeles Real. Did you say Los Angeles Real already? God, we did it twice. Rehash.
Okay.
That was it.
Hashtag Los Angeles Real.
Yes. Thank you for adding that. Today's guest, special guest, is Bob Dixon.
Hello.
Bob
Dixon.
Welcome.
Bobby D.
Welcome, Bob Dixon.
Thank you. Thank you, Christian, for having me.
Man, we're
Thomas.
lucky to have you. Thanks for stopping by.
Absolutely.
So that's it. Let's wrap it up.
This is awesome.
Great show. We'll see you next time.
Buy the book.
Bob's a man who wears many hats, but what we brought him in today to talk about, well, everything, but primarily industry, agency, first-person experience. You're the man. So
there you go.
What we wanted to talk about, at least initially, for as I mentioned, dozens of listeners and viewers that we have, quite literally dozens. So, I mean, Christian can vouch.
Dude, there's thousands and thousands and thousands and billions of cells within one person.
Exactly.
They're all listening. So, please.
Millions
I can
of tiny
imagine
molecules.
This is quite specific to people that are trying to pursue a career in acting and modeling. And so I was just hoping you could shed some light on all that, and we'll go through it piece by piece, but just give us a little background on how you got into it, how you got involved in the industry to begin with.
Sure. 15 years was a modeling agent and started in Chicago, and I actually wanted to break into the industry, and I always knew I wanted to represent models. I didn't know how or why. I didn't know how to break into that, so I asked my dad for a $500 loan, and I actually went to a little model search thing in Chicago.
No
I actually
shit.
got 3 callbacks. I was super excited. And
Wait,
then
you were going to be a model?
I didn't
initially?
want to be a model, but the only way I knew to have access to those agents was through this model search. So when I got called back, I actually sat there and stood in line at the callback, and everybody was taller and skinnier and more muscular than I was, and I was just waiting to talk to the person, and I actually would stand across from them and say, hey, thank you for the opportunity, but I actually want your job. And 2 of them got really offended that I did that, and they're like, you're never going to have a career or whatever. And then
You'll
one
never work in
actually,
this town.
yeah, you'll never work in this town.
In
ever.
Chicago.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, that's
exactly.
fine.
I'm like, that's cool because I'm not staying here. And then I actually did get a great response from one of them, and I talked to her for a while, and she's like, here's how you do it. And I was traveling the next 2 months later. I was traveling in Miami, and was with my best friend, and she's gorgeous mulatto girl and tall and thin. And we were on the beach, and somebody approached her, and then I walked into that office with her for the open call appointment, and it was in an agency that's no longer open. And at the time, I was sitting there, and the gentleman on the other side of the desk was like, excuse me, but could you give us a moment and leave us alone? And my 15-and-a-half-year-old self was like, I'm not going anywhere and leaving you in this room with my 15-year-old best friend girl. And he's like, no, actually, I'm talking to her. And so she looked at me, and I'm like, all right, go. And he's like, who the hell are you? You're 15 years old. You're on spring break, or 16, whatever. You're on spring break, and you're acting as though you're her manager. And so at that moment, I felt like I knew there was a presence within me that I could actually, vocalize that. And so then he talked to me, really gave me a lot of insightful information, and was like, what are you doing? What are your plans? Would you ever come out here to be an intern? And all that stuff. And at that time, then it became real.
What was this guy's
Los
name?
Angeles Real.
What
was
his name?
And so I was going to tell you, so actually to this day, he's still a very good friend of mine, and it's David Ralph, and he's at New York Models.
He represents
I know. He's
Holy
awesome.
shit.
And David Ralph was just out here in LA, not like maybe 2 weeks ago, and he hit me up, and it's crazy because he's known me from like when I was like a little kid. And then when I went to college, I wanted to pursue it, and so I actually was proactive. I was a communications major, and I went to the director of communications, and I said, listen, I already know what I want to do, and it's not on this list of, requirements to get credit, and we're going to make this happen, and so how do I do it? And she's like, well, find an agency that would, hire you.
Turn me down, dog.
Who turned you down?
You did.
Find
Sorry, I
an
don't mean to
agent.
interrupt.
That's okay. He was like, find an agency that, they were like, find an agency that's good. And so I hit him up and I just asked him, what are the top 2 agencies in Chicago?
Oh, that's you.
Yeah, that's me. That's loud.
I'm the third one. Turn me up. Stop turning me down.
Okay, let's just put it on the table.
And they didn't have green M&Ms for me either. So this is like
this is
really
all about Thomas. We're just white noise.
So then I met Thomas and my life became complete. And that's why I'm here right now.
That's nice. That's
Thomas,
cute.
are you happy with your tone there?
Let's see. Okay. Wow. Look, my mic's on. Thanks for turning my mic on. I appreciate that.
How's this?
Can you turn it down?
Check 1, 2. Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
Mo better.
That's
that was
you,
me.
dude.
We're
1, 2, 3.
How's that? Is that you?
Check 1, 2. Oh, there it is. Oh, jeez.
Oh, I actually hear him now. I did really not.
Thank you.
I thought you were joking.
So you went in. You're 15, and wait a second. How did you said you've always known? What you used to look through magazines and go, I want to represent these guys.
I don't even know. Honestly,
How did you even know about the world of agents? Like prior to that,
I just knew. I figured that there was like somebody who was responsible for putting people on television, or somebody responsible for putting people in those magazines.
Wow.
And so I just kind of thought that. I was like, I need to find out and do the research. I mean, now looking back in hindsight, I'm like, yeah, who did I think I was? I don't even know. But it was cool. And then I went back to my college professor, the director of the communications department, and I actually, had 2 names, and I was given those names from David, and I called the first one. They never returned my call, and I was like, yo, I'm just trying to give you free labor. Like, I just want to work for free.
You're trying to intern?
And yeah, I was trying to intern. And then the next one, and I'm a big, huge proponent of like, things do work out and things happen, and we have to find the purpose for why that happens. And looking back, it was completely just handled the way it was supposed to. And I made a phone call to the other, agency that was on the list, and the owner of the agency answered, and it was more of a mom and pop type setting. And then she quickly had me come in there. I met with the director of the runway division, who still is a lifelong friend of mine. And while she was interviewing me, she got this like little cheesy grin on her face, and she's like, listen, I just hired somebody like literally an hour before you came in here, but I'm going to call him and I'm going to let him know that I had to change my mind.
Whoa.
If you can keep a secret and do me this one solid. And I'm like, great, she's going to make me sleep with her.
Right.
She's having an affair with her on her husband, and I have to like keep a secret. Of course, that's where my brain goes. And she's like, no, I'm pregnant. And like, she used to model, so like the agency owner would have a problem with that. So she's like, I'm going to train you for 8 months, and then I'm going to be out for like a good 6 months, and I want you to take over, and I want my job when I come back.
Whoa.
So I was like, done, like no big deal. And then fast forward to I worked there for 2.5 years, 3 years almost.
Which
and,
agency was that?
Suzanne's A+. It's no longer around, but they then became Aria, which then became Ford, which then now they're still there.
Ford, yeah, they exist.
Ford in Chicago, yeah.
Ford's doing okay.
You may have heard of them. Hashtag Ford models.
Right.
So anyway, long story longer.
No, that's what we want to hear.
Yeah,
though.
long
This is
story
interesting.
longer is that I realized then it was really apparent to me that the owner, Suzanne, she never once answered the phone the whole time that I ever worked there. And to me, it was kind of like that poignant, like this was definitely meant to be. And, it was something that was obvious to me, and it was clear, and it was like definitely put in my path. And then what happened was I ran the division. I was young,
How old are you at this time?
I was going to say young, dumb, and the rest of the phrase.
Yeah.
So the 2 members listening today out of the dozens are going to get that reference.
See what you've done?
See, now he's totally, I'm kidding. Out of the 100,000s that are listening now, because that's how many
Billions of cells.
When I blast this on the internet, there's going to be tons of followers now.
Yeah, we are on iTunes now.
I know, I love
Yeah,
it.
dude.
We're on iTunes.
We're not messing around.
Yeah,
That's
the
good.
The new LA Real app.
That's
What?
good.
Christian made an app,
Yeah, made an
FYI.
There was an
Wow.
app for making an app.
No way.
There
He
was
made
a-
it from the juice.
I'm like, that's actually really smart.
Yeah.
No,
That's great.
It wasn't rocket science, but
Yeah.
it definitely took some
So
time.
And it helps, too.
you're running the print division.
So then she came back. I was running the runway division, and I was
Runway
really
division. And how
aggressive.
old are you? How old are you at this point?
I was 18 in college full time, working full time, handling it.
The fuck?
Yeah, I've always been. I had to pay my own way through college, and I had to do all that. I got a scholarship that was based on athleticism, and I actually blew out both my knees. And so that scholarship was taken away. And
based on athleticism?
I mean, it was a sports scholarship, and then that was
track. Baseball.
We'll go on to the next positive subject. I blew out both my knees. It was fencing.
Was it fencing? Oh.
No, I didn't fence. And then I was working, and I put all that into the work and
I don't think he wants to tell us what he did.
I know. What was the athletics?
Move on. It's like these two athletes here. They just want to know.
Los Angeles real, son. We're not trying to
keeping everyone guessing. I love it.
Okay.
No, it wasn't even that big of a deal.
Badminton, curling.
Badminton, totally. No, so I actually was working there full time, and then was like going to school full time and all that. So it was cool. And then when she came back, I needed to find a position because I still wanted to work there. And so then I became the director of New Faces. And then that's when I started traveling more and got introduced to LA agents, New York agents, Miami agents. We all traveled for these like model search things. And then I quickly got thrown on stage and was like one of the guest speakers and like was speaking in front of, you know, crowds of people. And
what organization is this?
It was various ones. Like as a modeling agent, you know, they don't do them as much anymore, but like there's certain
I remember those
competitions and searches. Yeah, I mean, I think Christian here actually went to one of them. Yeah. I think that's when I first met you, like years ago.
They work, man. But I mean, how do you feel?
It's a numbers game, and it's like, you know, I always said this: I will never do something if I don't feel it's right, and I'll never endorse something or participate in something, i.e., this, if I don't believe in the people who are behind it. And so I actually knew the people behind all the ones that I participated in, and I saw because I knew the legitimacy that I brought to the table, and then my colleagues that were there as well, they brought legitimacy to it. So at the end of the day, if you're 5'2" and you're a size 8 and you're trying to be a high fashion model, then you're not realistic. So you're going to be bummed out if you don't get a call back.
Right.
But nowadays, I feel like with the acting world and everything going to more real and more character, it's great because they've opened up a huge, wide range of people that could participate in that.
Well, what do you still participate in them, right?
I do.
Yeah.
The searches, not so much, but I have lots of friends that do.
Okay, so what do you tell somebody that obviously doesn't belong, but needs that confidence boost?
Yeah.
And you know that you can make a difference in their life.
Totally.
Right, that must be a fine line to walk.
Yeah,
I do actually, because like I said, I used to get asked to speak a lot, and it was always the fathers of the younger girls, and sometimes guys, but mainly the younger girls. They would come up and thank me, and I was like, you know what? And I was trying to just like grasp what they were thanking me for, and they said, because you said everything we would hope and we would want somebody that's in that position that you have to tell our daughter, to keep them grounded and humble and still hopeful, but yet understanding that there's so many things that we can do in this industry that aren't just the fame and the fortune and the modeling and the acting. And so a lot of times, you know, people, I think, have this, I don't know what the word is, but like this understanding that if I make it big, I'm going to be this famous person. And I used to always challenge them. I'm like, do you want to be famous or do you want to be successful? And you can, you know, levels and measures of success can be, you know, success can be measured in so many different ways. And I was a big proponent of like, you can be a makeup artist, you can do hair, you can be, you know, a director, you can be behind the scenes, you can do what I do, you could be an agent, you could be a manager, there's so many different things you could do. And at the end of the day, it's all, as you know, and you guys have both had success of your own in this industry, it takes all of us in that to make it all work.
Totally.
To make it happen.
Yeah,
and so at the end of the day, it was like, that positive motivation, you know, which I hope I present to people in the industry to give them hope and still say, hey, there's so much more you can do.
Yeah.
And just because, you know, you see someone like a Paris Hilton out there that's doing it and is having the fame and the accolades that go with it, and at the time that's who was famous, you know, when I was doing it, and then seeing that, it's like, do you really want to do that, or are you just wanting that route because it's the easy way and that's all you see?
Well, yeah, I mean, these people are celebrated, but they're not always talented. They're not always the best role models. They're not always the stories that, you know, people should be trying to follow, right? I mean, that's the way I saw it. And these model searches, for a long time, I didn't want to be associated with them because I saw that they would take anybody's money.
Yeah.
They would, and it's a lot of money
And it's
participate
very
in that,
easy
man.
to justify when you're handed over the $500 to $1,000. It's very easy to justify that. Well, I saw somebody that kind of looks like them on television once.
Yeah.
So I understand, and it's like it's a very soft and delicate topic for sure, because I think any transaction, you know, and again, I've said this to you guys earlier, but I do believe this. I don't think our industry should be held on a pedestal. I don't think it's something that's any different. It's any business. You know, it's any transaction that involves money and someone's emotions and someone's pride, ego, and opportunity to, you know, succeed in this business. It's like a lot of it's timing, a lot of it's luck, as we all know. A lot of it is dedication. A lot of it is motivation. A lot of it is contact and connection.
Well, let's talk about that. What are, for all the aspiring actors and models out there, what are you looking for? What can they do to improve their chances of catching your eye or you garnering your attention somehow? What do they need to do? What do they do?
I think.
What are you looking for?
And we'll talk about this moving forward, I'm sure, because I don't.
You're trying to get an agent right now.
I know, he totally is.
I'm like, how do you feel about beer?
I was like, I think we're going that route, aren't we? Am I going to end up representing him now by the end of this thing? Is that yeah? I have a contract for you. Well, I was just going to say, you know, interestingly enough, I actually got out of the model repping side of the business a couple of years ago, and 2 years ago I opened up 7 Artist Management, 7am, which is a photography management company. So I represent photographers.
7am.com?
7 Artist, singular, management.com. 7artistmanagement.com. And we cast models, we book models, we hire models, we produce photo shoots, and we do work still with a lot of the agencies and a lot of models. So it's a relevant question because I'm constantly scouting. It's just in my blood. It's in my nature. I will go up to somebody at the farmer's market, at the Grove, that I just see a twinkle, sparkle in their eye, but yet something that's just, it's just special. You just see it. It's like energy. It's connectivity. It's like, it's these things that you read books about, or you've seen videos on, or you've bought those like 1999 special late at night, 2 o'clock in the morning on cable, you know, secret life success stories that work. There's something there. There's just, you just see it.
Yeah,
Go ahead. No,
I
go
was
ahead.
going to say, I mean, as a human being, we're all vibrating at a particular frequency.
Absolutely.
And there's something about this person, this hypothetical person, that is attractive to you. It attracted you.
Yeah.
And you had to stop them and say, hey, or her, and say, by the way, right?
Yeah. I've actually had a great success story. When I was representing models, it was about 15 years that I did it. And then when I left the industry altogether, I wanted to give back. I kind of wanted to do a little bit more just, you know, to help out. And I started working with nonprofits and stuff. And at one point, I kind of just was looking at television and film and IMDb and looking at like who I had scouted, and they were on television, they were in films, they were doing it. And it was really like a humbling experience for myself too, because it's like you have to take responsibility in everything that we do. And part of the responsibility was, at that moment in their life, I could have just kept walking and looked down and been like, you know what, I'm scared, I'm full of fear, I don't want to seem desperate, I have all these things that are in my own human Bob Dixon body, mind, and soul. But had I not done that, look at the opportunities that may or may not have come their way. And I'm not taking full accountability for anyone's success, but I'm definitely saying that in life, if you don't reach out and take that risk, you have no idea what the reward's going to be. And so in my opinion, to go back to your question, it's like, as an actor, as a model, the most experienced and most successful models and actors, and I'll defer to both of you because you're both equally successful in your own right, is you have to make yourself vulnerable. You have to make yourself, you know, I always joke and say, you know, do you want to date the girl or the guy that's going to walk across the street that you happen to observe and she steps in a pile of dog doo-doo? Can I say shit?
You say shit.
Dog shit.
You must say, you can't say doo-doo
dog
on this
shit.
show.
I don't want to say doo-doo.
Steaming pile of shit.
Or she steps in a puddle of
My
water.
mom does watch the show.
Okay, great. My grandma's going to watch it, I hope. So, hi, Nana. And do they laugh at themselves? That's the point. Do they get mad? Do they get frustrated? Or do they laugh at themselves and look around and be like, oh my God, I hope somebody saw that, because that shit literally is funny.
That shit's funny.
That shit's funny.
That's great advice, man, because a lot of people are so trapped in this
bubble.
Yeah, they think that, oh, if I do wrong, and I mean, obviously it has so much to do with psychology and the way that we were raised at childhood. I say I say we because I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until you decided to, I say you, but I meant me. It wasn't until I decided to take this leap.
Right.
And say, you know what, you have to risk.
You have to. Some of the best actors that are out there, I mean, look at what their roles are. Their roles are to make asses of themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the best comedians, you know, are making fun of their own cultures. They're making fun of their own realities. You know, that's like what people do to trigger that response. And I think it's really interesting and fascinating when I've a lot of my friends that are casting directors or producers and they run casting sessions, you know, they already know it. This is something I've shared with Thomas before. It's like your responsibility as a human being, first and foremost, take out your profession and take out your occupation, whether you're a model and you're beautiful and that was God's gift to you and thank God to your mom and your dad, or whether you're a talented actor and you have that charisma and you have that drive, your responsibility, in my opinion, and I don't want to lecture, but I want to give it to you real,
Fucking lecture, man. Preach.
is your responsibility is to make a connection. And your responsibility is to make a connection with the person, you know, the barista behind the coffee shop or the clerk at the, you know, store or the teller at the bank or whoever it is. It's like these are also human beings and they're no less or no greater than, you know, you are, and you're no less or greater than they are. And I feel like a lot of times because the modeling, acting, entertainment, fashion industry is so fixated on looks and on outwardly qualities, we forget that connection is what's the most important. And so I always say to somebody when I was, I've always been a managing agent. I've always had a hands-on relationship with my clients, my talent, people like that. And as a manager, I used to always tell them, you know, your job isn't about getting the job. Your job isn't about getting the call back. It's not even about getting, you know, in the rooms and like impressing the whole audience or the casting director or the, you know, person who's hiring you. It's to make a connection. Because when you make that connection, guarantee you they're going to keep calling you back. And every time they call you back, it's almost like a free lottery card. Because what you're doing for them is you're making them look great. And what you're doing for them is you're allowing them to do their job, which is condense it down to the top of the best that are qualified for this particular role. Right. So that when they send it off to their client can look at them and say, you've done a great job. These are all good candidates. It's hard for us to pick and choose. Right. But we're going to go with him because he has a beard as opposed to him who doesn't. I'm pushing for the bird. I'm pushing for the beard. And what happens then is that they'll continue to call you back because you keep making that connection. And so a lot of times I think people just miss the boat. Lastly, I guess on that touch is like you're sitting in your car, you're parking, traffic's horrible in LA, you're on your way to your audition, you just stubbed your toe, you just lost your dog, you just found out some bad news, you just found out some great news, whatever. Process that by yourself in the car. Once you open that door, you've already started your casting session. You've already started your audition. Whether you're walking in to meet a manager, whether you're walking in to meet an agent to get signed, whether you're walking into actual casting, like the two of you already have representation, your audition started the minute you step out of that car because you have no idea that the casting director didn't just leave her office or his office to go get a coffee and is walking across the street and sees you get out of your car, sees a bicyclist flip you off and yell at you and then sees your reaction of that person as well and then has an instant judgment on you and doesn't even know that you're coming in for their casting. And then when they see you at the casting, they're like, you're the son of a bitch who totally pushed that bicyclist off the road and I'm a bicyclist and screw you, you know?
Right. So true.
And so there's all these like connectivity issues that are happening that we're not even aware of yet.
Yeah.
And so what I always say is like, take a breather. No one knows, cares, or understands what you've gone through, just like you don't know what they're going through. And so at the end of the day, all your job is to do is make a connection, hopefully positive, and have that be an opportunity where you can actually look at them in the eyes, shake their hands, and say thank you. You know? Same with the receptionist. I'll tell a quick story. At that first agency that I worked at, I love the story.
This is my favorite.
I shared this with Thomas too. So I was, brand new working at a modeling agency. I was young, dumb, again, that phrase. And I didn't, have the power or the strength that I have now or the knowledge, right? But I had set up a meeting with a beautiful, gorgeous female model. And I think she was visiting from Los Angeles, actually. And our receptionist was out of the office that day. She was sick. So we were all taking like hour shifts to fill in. And my hour was right before like lunch break. And I had an appointment with this model like right after lunch break. And so I'm sitting there at the receptionist desk. In her eyes, I'm the receptionist. She walks in. She has total attitude, complete model stereotypical like female diva issues and all that, and like huffing and puffing just and like rude. Tapping her, just rude. and tapping her foot, like, you know, I have an appointment and I need to be seen now.
It's all fear to me.
Totally,
Yeah.
it is fear and desperation.
Yeah.
Those are the two operatives that, in my mind, it just kills and crushes spirit. So I said, "Great, have a seat. You know, fill out this paperwork. He'll be right with you. Blah 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 blah. Whatever."
Oh, you're acting.
She's like, "I have an appointment with Bob Dixon," and I'm like, "Great, he'll be right there." No, you don't understand. I have an appointment, and it's like now. And I was like, "Okay, great." And so meanwhile, I'm me, and I'm waiting for the person to come, you know, relieve me of my receptionist duties that day. And so I get up and I walk back and I go just take a breather at my desk and I like check a couple like, you know, things and take my time. And all of a sudden I walk out and I'm like, "Hey, so-and-so." I was like, "Great. So nice to meet you. I'm Bob Dixon." And I took her paperwork and I said, "We had a wonderful meeting. Thank you so much. I saw everything that I needed to see in your personality. And I wish you the best of luck, but I just don't think you're a right fit for our agency." And her face just was like, "Oh my God, ghost." And then she, of course, wanted to backpedal and explain herself and all that. And I just looked at her and I said, "Listen, it doesn't make you a bad person, but hopefully you've learned a lesson that's valuable for your future career in this whole industry and any industry for that matter." I said, "But if you did that to me and you thought I was the receptionist, you're going to do that to other people when I send you out to auditions. You're going to treat the receptionist, the casting director, assistant, whoever it is, the same way." And I don't know, but all I know is that she did actually have a really good career. And I just hope for a little bit that, you know,
maybe you
it helped her.
Yeah,
That's what
I promise you it
Yeah.
did. It influenced the way she treated people
Yeah.
after that, because she lost a huge opportunity that turned into more when she learned that
right,
lesson.
right. So again, it's just like, you
Guys,
know,
be nice.
No,
be nice.
Be nice.
No,
for
I mean,
real.
you practice what you preach, man.
Yeah.
You made a connection, and it was positive, albeit kind of putting her in her place.
right, which is hard sometimes.
Yeah, but
How old were you when you had to admonish this beautiful model?
I think it was like 19.
Unbelievable.
I know.
So
I mean,
okay.
I'm only 24 now, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
24. That was like 5 years ago.
It was 5 long years ago.
Dude, so how did you go from, you know, doing, I guess, all the sorts of facets of a print modeling agency and runway and all that to getting into, can we talk about Osbrink? And you, I mean, you had to open up an entire division.
Yeah, so when I was in Chicago, I graduated college, and I knew right away. I actually lived out here when I was 16. And to go back to your original question, like, how did I know I wanted to be an agent? It hit me, actually. It was a great question. I lived out here for a summer when I was 16. I thought I wanted to be a lawyer. And I researched my family, and I found out that my dad had a second cousin who's a lawyer and lived out in California. And so I hit my dad up, and I was like, "Yo, Dad, like, you got to call Uncle Richard, and like, we need to like make a connection because I need to go out to LA for a summer."
Right.
So I did. I came out here, and then I think I went to like, you know, a couple of the agencies that were around back then, and like sat in their open call, and then realized like what they did and all that stuff. And so that's kind of what inspired me. I just remember that, which is cool. Yeah. And then I also remember that I was like, I knew I was going to live in LA. Like, I was given job offers from David to like go out in Miami, and I was given a job offer to go to New York, and I said no to both of those.
David was a big model too.
Yeah. We won't talk about that because I'll just give him a big head, you know. David, we love you. Yeah. And so I actually bought a new car and drove out to LA and moved out here with no job and wanted to not recreate the same situation that I did in Chicago, which was I didn't really know any of the other competitor, you know, agencies, and I just wanted to meet everybody out here. So I went and met with all the agencies. I'd traveled with a lot of them on these model searches, so I knew a lot of them, and nobody was really hiring. Like, it was pretty amazing and kind of scary at the same time.
What's the time frame?
Like the year or like 98.
98.
Yeah, like 98, 99. And then I actually went to all the different ones, and I started hitting up people that I knew and saying, "Hey, could you put a good word in? Like, I'll even be like an assistant or something." And so I started working at Wilhelmina. They created a job for me there. And then 2 months after I started there, the entire women's division of agents just left.
What?
And so it was myself and another guy, Aaron, who's still in the industry. He's in New York, very successful agent. I believe he's at IMG now. And he and I were just there to hold the fort down.
Where did all these agents go?
They left and they went to another agency, and they wanted to open up their own agency, and they just kind of scattered, and they were taking models like left and right, and it was like a big.
So it was filthy. It was a little scandalous.
It was filthy, and it was my first. Like, I'm from the Midwest. I'm 20 years old. What the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And I just saw money and dollar signs leaving the door, and so I just grabbed the dollar signs, and then Aaron just grabbed all the tall, skinny young ones because he's like all about fashion editorial and I was all about catalog and money and older girls.
So you have to scramble and try to hold as many clients as possible, even though most, somebody starts with an agent, they're gonna probably gravitate towards staying with them. So you have to really turn into a salesman and start.
And I'm a young kid from Chicago. Like, they don't know me, and this is somebody who they've had a relationship for, a year or years. So it was. Wow. And what was really fascinating is that we were successful at doing that, and we actually kept the division going strong. And at the time, it was a great learning lesson for me.
Great opportunity.
Great opportunity. And then I really was able to prove myself. And then from there, I learned how to negotiate. I love to negotiate in life, but I also it's my job and I love it and it's great. And I learned how to negotiate because I was at Wilhelmina and I was renegotiating for models that were only simply a name on a piece of paper. I had no relationship with them. I had no emotional tie with them. I didn't know if they had 2 kids and a husband and needed to pay rent or mortgage or anything like that. I was just given every week a list of names and a renegotiation for usage terms that I needed to call this client and call up so-and-so and say, hey, you want to renegotiate for Thomas? Great, it's going to be this much money. And then play the game and see however much I could get. And so I did that for like a good year, and I learned how to negotiate that way because I had no emotional attachment to the outcome. And I think there's lucky. Yeah, I think there's a really valuable lesson in that as well, because as actors and models and as people, I mean, I'm just as guilty of it, and I'm not an actor or model. I just play one on TV.
Right.
I'm just kidding. Is that when we put such a high expectation on that and the rewards and we put so much work into it, it's not guaranteed. And a lot of times I think, like, especially as men, especially as people who have been raised in like sports and whatnot, it's like if you work harder, if you lift more, if you go and you hustle and you got to do more, then we expect those results. And as actors and models, you can go full force and nothing's guaranteed. Man. Now, it doesn't mean you can just sit back and chill and, smoke a lot of pot and be like, I mean, there are people that are like that too. And they are also successful. You could. And they are, and they do. Yeah. They're not watching our show right now, I'm sure.
They're getting high.
But my point is that a lot of times I think we are raised in society, and it doesn't transfer over, especially in this business.
That's so true. You and I had talked about that previously.
Yeah.
At least in the gym, it's all about you have metrics and barometers for success and how you progress. And it's really hard in an industry where it's not really tangible and you don't have it's, totally subjective.
Yeah.
That's difficult.
And throw in there that you're judging me by my external, and I am a really intelligent person, but you're not giving me the material to even showcase my intelligence. And you already have a stereotype based on me because of all the other stereotypes in the industry.
The game has changed a lot, with social media and the way that people are portrayed and whatnot. It's not just a picture anymore. People are invited into your life because of Twitter and Facebook and all these platforms that allow, me. I follow Kobe Bryant. I know what Kobe's doing in the gym right now. I know his personality, because of what he writes.
Yeah.
And the fact that I see him on TV and he's talking. Now, mind you, he's an athlete. We've always celebrated our athletes, but models just used to be a picture.
Yeah, that's true.
It used to just be a picture.
Now we can actually find out how awful everyone is.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
or great. Or
vice versa.
I used to joke and say Facebook ruined my opportunity to negotiate because I used to flirt with everybody on the phone, and then Facebook allowed us to be able to see what each other looked like. And the ones that I always thought were hot, I was like, I'm screwed because they're going to get everything that they want. And then the ones that weren't so attractive, I'm like, I'm going to crush them.
Right.
And it's so true, and it sounds so shitty to say that out loud, but it's so true.
That's great.
And then
it's what the industry does sometimes.
It is. And then
oftentimes.
And now it's like, this is a common conversation I have. Like, we get or don't get jobs based on the number of followers that a photographer has on Instagram, or models. Like, they want to hire a model that may not be perfect for the job, but they have more followers on social media. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, that's the environment we live in. We went to a special screening for David Nutter, a director.
I love David. David's a great guy.
Yeah, he showed us his pilot that didn't get picked up. and they're still shopping around. And he talked about that one of the reasons that Mandy got hired, Mandy Moore this was her project, was she had millions and millions of followers on Twitter. You know, and it wasn't. Now, mind you, she was right for the role.
She was good.
Yeah,
she was right for the role, and she had this following, so it plays a huge factor.
Absolutely.
You know,
and I get that, and it makes sense. But I remember back in the day when this was the barometer. So I had 2 female models on the same job, and it was a swimsuit catalog, and they went to this beautiful exotic location. Same age, both same, like one was a little bit more wholesome and, you know, girl next door, and the other one was a little bit more exotic, both blonde, both beautiful. And they both got a very nice contract to go out on this swimsuit catalog job, and they both came back. They both had the same experience. It was wonderful. Everything was great, blah, 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 blah. Come a couple months later, they wanted to rehire only one of the models. And so my question is like, well, why didn't you hire the other model? And they said, because the swimsuit she wore didn't sell.
Oh.
And I looked at the pattern of the swimsuits that they were wearing, that they put on her, and they were hideous. Yeah. Christian couldn't even have sold those. Maybe you could have.
Yeah, I mean, come on, dude. You spoke too
It's
soon.
Christian. But, you know, my point is that the barometer has changed a lot. I mean, it's like the way that they're selecting models and all that. So going back to a question that you said earlier, like if someone's listening and they're really interested in getting in the industry, it's like find something that fascinates you and create like a Tumblr, create a blog, create a story. Do what you guys are doing with this, you know, Los Angeles Real. It's amazing. It's like,
thanks, man.
Do something that is passionate about you, and don't worry about the followers and the viewers. And everyone's joking about the couple dozen followers.
Clearly, we aren't worried about that shit.
Right?
Yeah.
and put...
Share it. Send it to everybody.
Please. I tell them if they take their shirt off and they get it with their shirts off, you guys would probably get a few more followers.
Maybe like 4.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I know those 4 too.
4 to 5. You know them all.
I know them all. But no, and if you're in a small town in Ohio, it's like you can still start something right now today to enhance your career, because I truly feel, and you guys are the best examples to talk about this, but everything in your life that's happened to you has led you up to the point that you're at today. So when you go in for that part and you're reading, you can tap into a library of resources in your own brain.
That's true.
Or experiences of, you know, let's say you were working out or you were doing some kind of sport, and then you get hired for an athletic job. You can kick right into that mode because you have that muscle memory. Yeah. You know, you have that, and we have all of it. You know, if you're doing a part, you have the emotional muscle memory. You can tap right into that feeling, and it's great. So everything that is happening in our lives, I think, is acute to move us to the next level. And that's something I would definitely say is true for anybody that wants to get in this business.
Yeah. I mean, Joseph Campbell, do you know the author? He did he's
Power of Myth.
Power of Myth with
cool.
Bill Moyers. I'm quoting him because our mentor, or sort of.
Yeah, you could say that.
Sort of. At the Carter Thor studio, Cameron, he talks about mythology quite a bit and the stories that we tell. Anyways, Joseph Campbell, at the core of his teaching was to follow your bliss.
Oh, yeah.
Follow your bliss. Do what makes you happy.
Yeah. What is your heart's desire? That's a question that was asked of me when I was 19 years old. I didn't know what the hell it meant.
Yeah.
And I just recently, like I'd say probably age 30, was reintroduced to that, you know, and it was like, what is your heart's desire? And it's like, what do you want to do? And anything, you know, if you have a parent who's struggling to accept your creative side, and they're like, you know, saying, no, you should be a doctor, you should be a lawyer, you should be something that's going to pay the bills. There's so many examples, you know, you guys included again, of people who have done it, who have made a living, who have, you know, followed their dreams and had a wonderful lifestyle with it.
At the root of every answer to that question is some form of love, whether either wanting to give it or receive it.
Yeah,
you know, it doesn't matter what your answer is. That's pretty much it. Like, I feel like everybody, that's what they want deep down, is they want to be loved.
Yeah,
so they want to give love.
Yeah, I agree, definitely. But at what point, when you're doing what you love, do you say, all right, man, I think I put the ladder on the wrong wall. I now I'm at the top of this, and shoot, I can't hang my frame here. It was supposed to be over there. In other words, saying when you're passionate about something and you can't pay your bills And if this wasn't lucrative for you, you wouldn't be doing it.
Well, I've had this conversation so many times, and I've always told the artist within, whether it be an actor or a model or just a friend who's frustrated, I've always said, how badly do you want it, and how much are you willing to go and push through to get it? And what I mean by that is, a lot of times we have to make sacrifices. So you know what? Ideally, you don't want to go work at a restaurant, but guess what? You do, and people do it all the time. I know it's like a cliche thing in LA. But the other thing is, if you're pushing through, I feel in life, the moment that you're about to just give up and give in is the moment where we are teased and tempted the most. And then all of a sudden, it's like that happy little moment where I'm done, I'm through with it, I'm out of here. And then it's like the phone call from the agent. Oh, hey, I've got you on hold for this job.
Yeah, it's so true.
You know?
Oh
and
my
then
God, it's
you
so true.
have to be 100% committed to your decision that I'm either going to walk away or I'm going to give back into the temptation. And if you give back into the temptation, there's no guarantee that that temptation is going to then come in your favor at the end of the day. However, I do feel like there is this, like, I don't even know what it is, like I don't want to say spiritual transition, but something within that actually makes you realize, you know what, I'm not quite done with it, and I'm going to work hard, and I'm going to do what I need to do, and I'm going to be open, and I'm going to be, listening to what I need to do. And then you just kind of re-engage, and when you re-engage, then all of a sudden you've just let go of all that desperation and that fear, and then you're open to receive. And I mean, if the lesson is just be open to receive anything, I hear this all the time, and I didn't get it, but it's like, there's all these books and all these books on tape or CD, whatever, and podcasts that we can listen to where it's like, if your mind can think it, you've already done it. Your body and yourself is the one thing that gets in the way. We think like we can do stuff, but then our mind tells us we can't. And so we're like our worst person, like getting in our own way. So that's like something with a lot of the actors and the models that I've said is like, you know what, if you're having like a slow month, go book a trip. Like, go book a trip. Go to Las Vegas. Go.
That is inevitably when you'll get the call.
when you're going to get the call. And make a really big plan with your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whomever. And, plan to go see your family. So that when you have to make a decision to disappoint all of them or take the career, what are you going to do?
Exactly.
It's got to be genuine. Like,
you're speaking my language now.
The fiber that makes the fabric of this ether.
Yeah.
You can't manipulate it.
No.
You can't just be like, oh man, I want to work.
You can't.
I want to work. I'm gonna go ahead and book a flight. I'm gonna pretend to book a flight.
To be
I'm gonna get on the internet right now.
Search on Kayak.
I'm gonna buy a $39 round trip ticket to wherever. Bakersfield.
Exactly. Seriously.
I know. I believe you. That brings me back to the whole connection part, and I'm so glad you said that, Christian, because like now you're seriously speaking my language. When you're making a connection, it can be as forced as, I love your t-shirt. That's a connection. I can say something about complimenting your outfit, or I can say something about the way someone looks, or I could be in an office with a potential agent that I'm interviewing with to get signed to, and I could see like a framed picture or an autographed baseball or a picture of their dog or their family or whomever. And if I'm genuine in what I'm saying, I can instantly force a connection to happen based on the compliment that I give them.
Right.
But if I'm saying it just to be like, oh yeah, I love your shirt, and then 5 seconds later I'm like, oh yeah, I love your shirt, and then it just dilutes the whole, being genuine about it. But I've said that to numerous people, like, we can have our set comments or our set responses to the typical questions. As a model or as an actor, you're going to go in as anyone to interview for a job. They're going to sit back and they're going to say, so tell me a little bit about yourself, Christian. And it's like, what are you going to say? You want to have something prepared. You want to have something planned. It could be something that you feel like you've said a million times, but as long as it's genuine and it's the first time that person's hearing it, and it's genuine, there's going to be a connection made. And you might talk about something that interests you, which might trigger something like it happened today. You triggered something in me that reminded me of being out here when I was 16 as a high school student in California. And then it's like, boom, now we just have a connection because you were allowing me to tap back into something that I hadn't thought about.
And that makes you think at the end of the day, damn, that Thomas is a really cool guy.
I want to sign him.
Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't for that beard.
I know.
Shave it off.
No, it's funny because that's something in, I don't know if you've read How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
I have not. I've heard of it.
One of the things he talks about is, I've heard of it. One of the things he talks about is, you ask questions, which I think inquisitive people naturally do. instead of meeting somebody and telling them initially about yourself, you're interested in what they have to say.
Yeah.
And if I came up to you and just asked you 5 questions and you spent the whole time talking to me, you would leave our interaction like, damn it, Thomas is fucking awesome. He's really cool and interesting.
You were talking about yourself.
And that's
People
exactly
love to talk about themselves.
It's so true.
And it reflects positively on you.
And it's never like a manipulative thing that I'm doing. I just I'm
right.
curious. Right. I'm like, I can't wait for them to think I'm cool.
Right.
It's more like I'm genuinely curious about everything, whether it's, a leaf on the ground, which makes me look a little weird sometimes, or someone I just meet in the street. And if you're inquisitive like that by nature, I think you'll always be effective.
Absolutely.
With
Yeah, genuinely interesting people are interested.
Yeah.
They're interested in what's happening.
Yeah, I always say this. I say I will go up to a homeless person the same as I'd go up to Lady Gaga. And I've done both.
Have you really?
I have. And introduced myself and said hello and been the same amount of nervousness, the same amount of insecurity at the time, the same amount of, excitement, the same amount of happiness, the same amount of everything, good, bad, indifferent. And it's the same because that person's a person. Right. And at the end of the day, because of their wealth, their fame, their poor fortunate, their whatever, it doesn't matter. It's just the story that adds to what I want to find out about them. And I think that that's important. I think we really forget that a lot, especially when you're stressed out, you're running through the city of Los Angeles, you're going from casting to casting, you're trying to be on, you're trying to be perfect, you're trying to be on time, you're trying to memorize the lines, you're trying to look the part, you're trying to be, have the 6-pack, you're trying to do all that stuff. And on top of that, you're supposed to get out of yourself and worry about the person who's there in the room interviewing you. That just seems foreign. That just seems opposite of what you're supposed to do. And I guarantee the people that I know work a lot, they are genuinely those types of people.
It's so amazing though. Since Bob and I started chatting, he was just impressing upon me the need to be mindful and the need to, how necessary it was to make those connections and go out of your way to do so. And if you just have it in your mind, something about it allows you to be more open so that you're more approachable. Yep. Even in situations where the time has passed, right? Let's say you and I have been walking by each other in, say, the gym 100 times.
Numerous times.
And we've never said hello, and it's gotten past the point where maybe one of us should have said something. So now it's just weird.
What do you do?
Even now, you can still make that connection, and the other person will always be genuinely surprised.
Yeah,
like,
man.
Oh, shit, I thought we were doing this thing where we put our heads down when we
yes,
walk by each
so
other.
True.
No, it's
flexing, of course.
Flexing, like a gym, of course. Right. It's a rare person that assumes the burden and says, like, think about that same situation where you don't know somebody's name. Right?
Yeah.
That awkward moment where it's like you just don't know their name and it's too many opportunities have passed.
But when were we told back in the day that you can't ask somebody again, I'm so sorry, I forgot your name.
That's what I'm saying.
What is your name?
You assume the burden.
Yeah, it's so true.
I'm sure it's in that book, your Dale Carnegie book.
Yeah.
Just introduce yourself.
Right.
You're right.
And that's it. And they'll eventually or you forget somebody's name and the trick of I'm gonna introduce you, but I forgot their name. Right. So tell them your name.
Yeah. Ask them their name.
It's like
be a good wingman.
No, just assume the burden.
Yeah, I like that phrase.
Yeah, absolutely. You do what you can. At the end of the day, you're a human being, and you also have your shit going on. You probably forgot my name.
Yeah,
Christian, or you probably don't know me.
I was gonna say Ted.
Well, that's actually Christian and I met that way. We're in acting class, and I'm sort of new to that particular group of people, and I don't know what it is between dudes who are in their mid-30s who think they know who they think they are.
Dude, he's like 24. What are you talking about?
Yeah, shit. Did I say that out loud? I thought my mind grapes were working on that inside my head. But I said, hey, man, you should really check out this video podcast I've been watching called, London Real. And I really didn't expect, I don't know why I said you should check it out, why I thought he'd be receptive to it, but it just lined up that way. And then he said, yeah, that's really neat. Maybe we could do something like that. And that took us to this right now.
So it's the openness, the willingness, and the opportunity was there. So it's like the fact that you opened up your idea to him and you didn't even know where it was going to
run.
And
I could have been shut down. He could have been like,
exactly.
no, I don't know you.
No, here's the thing.
I want to talk about that next.
Speaking about being genuine, he had a genuine interest in this particular episode, in this podcast. He literally was so excited about it that his enthusiasm was attracting me to that thing.
Exactly.
You know, it wasn't fake. You weren't trying to impress me.
No.
You were genuinely excited about what he listened to, and to have somebody receptive to it.
Yep.
You know, I was, because we have the similarities were there. So he said, hey, he doesn't know about this. Let me introduce him to him, you know.
I want to talk about what you just said, because I think it's really important. You were talking about the fact that you were passionate about something, you were excited about something, you wanted to share it with somebody, you felt enough comfortability with Christian to say, hey, I'm going to throw it out there, check out this thing, whatever. Now I want to go to, if Christian looked a certain way at you, or when you guys first met, or the first couple weeks you were in that class together, and he was like, you know, serious or focused, or wasn't smiling, or didn't give anything that was approachable.
That's exactly the way he is.
That's
exactly the way he is.
Because if I was walking down an alley and I saw him coming at me, there's no way in hell.
That's why I'm saying it didn't make any sense for me to approach him, because he's not. He doesn't make himself that way. Especially not in class. He's very serious, very focused. It's not a bad thing.
No.
Well, it's also a good thing, because he's being selfish, because he's paying it. He's there. He's wanting to get the most out of it, which is great. But this is my point. We all have a responsibility, and this is my only opinion. We all have a responsibility based on the fact that we need to know what our external self is giving off. So again, if Christian is a good-looking guy and he has strong features and he happens to be shy, I'm going to look at that with all of my insecurities from junior high school, and all the people I wanted to go approach that shut me down. And I'm going to be fearful to go over to him and talk to him, because he reminds me of all those people when he could be so shy, and that's just his demeanor. Right. But because of how he looks, it's cutting off a lot of opportunities for people to come talk to him. And what's happening is he has a responsibility to himself to know, you know what, I'm shy, and it's not my comfort zone to get out of my shell and like reach out my hand and do that. But because I know people are going to assume like, oh, I'm this kind of guy, I'm in this industry, and this is what I do, he therefore, in my opinion, has that responsibility to himself to be the guy who's going to reach out, be more of a goofball, smile a little bit more, say a little bit more hellos, know his approach with the person that he's going up to, whether it be somebody he wants to meet, somebody he wants to network with, somebody he wants to just find out more about them, and be like, yo, what's going on, and break that ice. And it's backfired on me numerous times in the dating world.
But you know what, man? You have to try.
You have to try.
You have to try.
You have to try. Because, again, I am very outgoing, as you could tell, and I elevate at a very high energy. And a lot of people, they don't understand that either. And so I have to take a responsibility for myself and sometimes give my 35%, which is still other people's 100%, and like pull back a little bit, and I just find it, I see it, I watch it, I see so many times in a grocery store, at a Starbucks or wherever, people miss a connection. And I don't know how to describe it, because I don't want to sound that dramatic, but it's almost like it really frustrates, it really eats at my core.
I guarantee you it eats at everyone's core.
Yeah. It's strange though, because it happens to be Los Angeles. Because when I travel, man,
that is true.
When you're even just north of here, like say Santa Barbara, it's like people are friendly.
People's guard is down or something.
Man. I went to Sedona and went to a retreat, and man, everybody's just like, you're walking down a path and you see somebody walking. Hey, how's it going? You do try to do that here.
Yeah.
Try to do that.
I do it.
Down the street.
I do it.
And I know you do, and that's how we started talking. But
people are afraid. Like what?
You know what it is? I'm gonna challenge you on that, because I respect you. Did you like that?
That was nice.
And I'm gonna say to you, I want you to be that change. I want you to be the one who's actually going to say, you know what, fuck everybody else, because I'm not afraid and I'm not trying to get anything. And I know you do this, but I'm going to say it all the time.
Yeah.
Because there's so many times when like I'm stressed out about the news I just heard. I'm stressed out about this bill I just got. I'm stressed out about this thing I need to go. I need to go home and pack tonight at 11 o'clock and then get on a plane tomorrow morning at 8.
This is true.
But in my head, if I'm thinking about that now, I can't be present for what's happening here. And again, I'll go back to like the barista or the teller at the bank or the clerk at the shop, grocery store, whatever. Those people have the same stuff going on in their lives, and if you're paying them something, you expect them to be on point. You expect something from them because they're at their job. Well, you know what? I expect something from you because you're alive, breathing, and walking around in this world.
It's so
at the
huge,
end of the
dude.
day,
So
at the end of the day, if I don't make, I would not be sitting here and then be reconnected with Christian, who I've known for years now, if it wasn't for Thomas being receptive to me, going up to him because I saw him in passing in our neighborhood, and said to him, you know what? Hey, brother, I see you all the time. You're always smiling like me. Like, what's your story? And then he was like, here's my story.
I like my beard.
I like my beard. What do you think of my beard? Are you a producer? Can you get me work?
Yeah, I'm like, do you know anyone on Game of Thrones?
Yes.
So I'm watching this show Vikings.
Yes.
And,
I want to be on it.
But it's so true that if you make yourself a little bit more, I know I already said this, but I'm telling you, man, and we talked about this a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
I've noticed that
A change.
a huge change. If I'm super present, all of a sudden people all around me are opening up too. And maybe it's just in my mind grapes, but maybe they really are actually, noticing it, feeling it, and it's helping them in some way.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that, it's about the reality that you create in your mind, the paradigm that we're all cursed with, whatever it might be. If my paradigm is, oh, people aren't receptive to me because of the way I look. Well, if
Guess
I reach
what?
out there,
Yeah.
well, those are the thoughts
Yeah.
that are going through my mind. So that's what
Yeah.
that's what I'm projecting.
Absolutely believe that.
Yeah.
But I also think it's one step further than that too. It's just a matter of being aware. I read something, and I think I shared this with Thomas. It was, and actually I just started this Artist Way book,
yeah.
which is something that a lot of people are familiar with, especially in, you have one copy here.
Somewhere over here.
And I'm only into 3 weeks of it, but it's really been something that I've been keyed into. And somewhere in that book it says, awareness equals connection equals healing. And to me, it was like everyone's hurting, suffering, something's going on in their lives. It's life. It's tough. It's going on. At the end of the day, when you make a connection, if you're aware and you're walking around this world aware, and how many times have you been like, that person's a sheep, they're just doing what they're just doing in front of them, and they're not aware. How many people have you seen just walking around this world that are just like zombies? They're just not living. And I actually joke with people, and this is probably really inappropriate, and I could probably get in a fight or get shot or something. But I'm always like, 1, 2, 3, clear, and I'll go up to them and I'll like try to recharge them. And I'm just like,
Are you serious?
I'm serious. I've gotten some crazy reactions
I'm gonna
from
do
it.
that to a girl.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3,
Clear.
You might get slapped, but whatever.
Kidding.
It's all good. Joking.
I'll be kidding. I was joshing.
But it is important. I think it's important to snap people out of it, because I think people want to be snapped out of it.
Yeah.
I think people want a connection. And even if I just need to like reach my hand out and touch your shoulder and look at your eyes and say, I see you today, like you're seen. Think of how many different people would like get out of their own head and be like, oh, wow. Especially coming from two very attractive men who in their normal mind, they would not be approached by those people. It's amazing.
I read today that 6 to 12 meaningful touches per day increases the lifespan by X number of years. But that people are so desperate for connection.
They are.
Yeah, no.
And what I was going to ask you is, do you notice a shift in consciousness on a global level at all in the last few years, or do you feel like we're pretty much where we were?
I don't know if I'm qualified to answer that question,
Thomas
but in my
gets deep,
own,
man.
I know, but in my, I'm like, I think that's your guest next week.
Agents, models, actors. That's what I meant.
I do see a shift in the models and the actors. I'm just kidding. No, I think in general, I just feel we see what we want to see. So
Well,
it sounds
I meant more like, yoga is much more mainstream. The raw foods, meditation, people can talk about that now without
I think people
fear
want
of
to be
being
healthier.
mocked.
I think people want a healthy lifestyle for sure.
Okay.
I think people, I feel as much as the reality TV has provided a downfall in our society, I do feel like the reality television has also offered a means to show people how to be healthier, how to live a healthier lifestyle, how to lose weight, how to, prepare foods that are healthier for them and all that. So there's the balance, and I think if you wake up in the morning and you want to be a healthier person, you will be. And if you're just going to be waking up in the morning and be set in your way and not listening and open-minded and willing to adapt a new way of thought, then you're going to still be in that, in that same thing.
Why is it so difficult for people to change?
It's fear.
Are they afraid?
They're afraid.
Yeah, man.
I always think in my day-to-day, I always say I'm not desperate and I'm not acting out of fear. And my reaction and my response is something that I can never make based on either one of those points.
So if you're taking on a client and you see that there's greatness in them, do you take the responsibility of coaching them out of that? Do you work as quote unquote a therapist
or mentor?
Or
representing photographers is just like representing models and actors.
Mm-hmm.
They're artists, and we are. I always say this. I say my job is to promote.
Are you a photographer as well?
I'm not, but maybe after the artist's way I will be, because that's one of my things that I'm tapping. I'm a great Polaroid photographer.
You take digital.
Back in Polaroids.
They don't even they don't call them Polaroids anymore.
We're calling them Polaroids because I'm bringing them back.
Like Terry Richards.
You both will be invited to my exhibit.
Richardson?
Because
Terry
Richardson.
Yeah.
We just had I just found a huge box full of Polaroids of all the models and actors that I represented over years.
Oh, that'd be a cool collage.
Yeah, I'm gonna do like a really cool. Yeah, I totally forgot I had them.
We're doing an art show. You should be part of the exhibit, dude.
I'm there.
That means
make a massive collage.
I'm going to. I'm actually working on it. Yeah, it's cool. Something that I feel is my job is to promote those people, protect those people, and procure work for those people. So I'm always like the 3 Ps. And what I do is I've met so many artists that are talented and brilliant, but they're just desperate and they're acting out of fear. And then they're also just making wrong, rash decisions. And I'll put it out there for our audience, but also for you guys. How many times have you really just wanted to date somebody and you've just really been desperate and that person's just been like, no way in hell. And your actions are just, you just reek of desperation because you want it so bad. It's the same as when you're going in for an audition. You want that role on Viking so bad that you're like, I'll do anything for it. I'm plugging you. I'm trying. He will do anything for it.
Yeah, HJs, ZJs, all the Js.
So it's how many times they can smell that because you aren't your authentic self. You're not being who you are normally. You're not being who we are right now. I'm not acting any different right now with you guys, having a recorder in my face as you and I are in the car, driving over here. And I think that that's really important. It goes back to that girl walking across the street, stepping in the puddle and reacting,
Belief, right?
Belief.
You just have to have a belief that you're where you're supposed to be and doing your soul's work.
I think it's a confidence as well. And I think it's just...
Well, when you believe in yourself, you have confidence.
Yeah, it's totally believing in yourself.
How attached do you... The 3 of us were touching on this earlier, but I thought
I
this would be...
didn't touch anything.
It was right in the middle. It was a little bit moist. I assume agents get very attached to their clients sometimes.
Yes.
Right? So a question, not the question. Would a talent that is going to blow up, let's say Christian, would Christian have found...
You guys have used me as an example the whole time.
Would Christian have found that representation without you? Are the greats going to find that regardless of who their agent is?
Interesting.
Or do you feel like you have the responsibility to take them to new heights, and do you feel like it's because of you? I mean, because let's put it this way. In this industry, people jump around constantly.
Right.
You get to a mid-level agency. This is what I've seen. You get to Abrams or give me another upper-tier mid-level agency. I don't know. UTA, and then you get cherry-picked. Somebody comes from WME or CAA and says, hey, what about coming
to the top dogs. You know, there's no loyalty built in. It doesn't seem like. Where's the fidelity?
So I'm gonna break your question up into 3 chapters.
Yeah, please do. Chapter 1. Chapter 1.
For our audience.
Right.
I have always, and I only can speak for myself, I don't like to speak in generalizations at all. And I feel like as an independent, as an artist agent, I know my achievements per subject, and I know my achievements per talent. So, for instance, if it's an actress who's now in movies, and I had nothing to do with getting her into those movies, but I had everything to do when she was 14 to 16, getting her the confidence, getting her the money to do print jobs that paid her way to like help out her family and pay her family back for all the gas and all the time, and getting the acting classes, and gave her the confidence and gave her the security so that when she was going a little boy crazy, to like give her a little space and like let her know that, you know, it's not all about work, but it's also about going to prom, and it's also like coaching her along the way to make those decisions that are important in life. Because if you're going to choose a job over going to prom, and this is a true story, I sat next to an agent at an agency that I used to work at that I quit. And this is one of the reasons why I quit, because the agent was screaming and yelling at this poor girl because she wanted to go to prom, but she didn't book out. And she got asked last minute by one of the elder, like senior, junior guys, and she wanted to go. And this agent was literally yelling at her because she was choosing her social life over her career. Wow. And that is influential. I don't care what you say to a 16-year-old girl at that moment.
That's traumatic.
You know, it's traumatic. And like, let's just look back at life and say, so going back to your question, it's like, do I control, I can't put a gun up. I mean, I could put a gun up to the Vikings casting director and say, you better book Thomas on this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really? You didn't turn off your phone?
It's off. I just pressed a button. Sorry.
How dare you?
Siri, shut up. That's my agent, Siri.
That was the casting director.
From Vikings.
Thomas, call him in right now.
Vikings. We got Vikings. We're good. Okay, good.
We're not live, but somehow they found me.
Sorry about that.
That's how it happens, damn it.
Yeah, but what I was saying is I can't put a gun to the casting director's head at Vikings and say, you have to book Thomas on this job, you know, and you have to bring him in and da-da-da. But what I can do is I can do all the research I can possibly. I have resources, I have contacts, and I have connections. And what I can do is I can utilize my resources. And that's really anybody, in my opinion, that's all you can sell yourself on as an agent is your motivations, your true, you know, genuine opportunities and responsibilities that I have. Like, I know I'm a good person. I know I'm hardworking. I know I can get you out there. I know I'm not afraid, so I'll pick up the phone and actually make the phone call. I know I won't take no for the first time. I'll keep trying, and I'll be, you know, cautiously optimistic, but maybe sometimes annoying to the casting director to the point where they might just give in, and that's how you got the casting. Right. But everything else leads up to that moment where you walk in the room and it's up to you. And so I don't have the luxury to sit back here and say, I made you, you know. If I was the one person who called up Christian that day when he got like the one job that changed his life, you know, I mean, is there even such a thing?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
For him.
Yeah. I was joking, but I knew there was.
Well, for anybody.
Yeah.
For anybody who's there.
For me too.
People started.
You knew the day when you were like, I've now accepting the terms that I have
Dude,
become.
it was the story you told where you're like, I was beat down, I was ridiculed for having moved to New York in the first place to be with Boss Models, and the day I was leaving, I got the call, hey, how fast can you get up to, you know, 54th and 6th Ave?
Yeah.
You got another 2 weeks worth of showroom stuff at $150 an hour.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, oh, that
I'll stay.
everything's changed.
Right.
I love modeling. This is the greatest. You know, and it was like, boom, game changer like that. But prior to that, you know, I was like, fuck this stupid shit.
Yeah. I always think too, I love when I watch those like, you know, like, let's just face it, we've all done it. Like those true Hollywood stories or behind the scenes or whatever.
Yeah.
When you find out that like so-and-so got the role because Julia Roberts turned it down. And then that role is all we know as a society was like, that was Scarlett Johansson's role. Like that was her movie.
Right.
Or like Sandra Bullock did something because so-and-so passed it. And you can't even think of that character being anybody else but Sandra Bullock. And it's like, you know, who's responsible for that? Yeah. So if you want to go deep and you want to go on a spiritual level, like, you know, I definitely live my life. Like the more I try to control it and the more I try to, you know, make stuff happen for my artist or for me, the more I'm like just messing it up.
So, but doesn't it hurt you when they leave?
Does it hurt me when they leave? I mean, I think your question originally was like,
well, it was
the
like
cherry
three
picking.
parts.
It was like the cherry picking and all that stuff.
Chapter 2.
Chapter 2. Thank you. I think the question was, like when you've done all this work and you've had a personal relation and a personal investment in these people, and they make a decision to, go elsewhere because the grass is greener, or they feel like there's more promise or there's something there. That's part of the industry, and you're foolish if you think like it's not going to happen. And you're also foolish to think that, I can keep all of these people under contract and locked down, and I can, tie them down, and I can do all this stuff to them. But what kind of relationship is that? Again, I like to parallel it to relationships in my personal life.
It's like nature, right? I mean, the mama bird eventually pushes the little chicks out, or do they call them chicks? Little birds, little hatchlings out of the nest, and they have to go. Yeah. Right? I mean, and otherwise it has a hoarding quality.
And other pets like crush their babies because they love them so much. It's like the same thing. It's like very similar, like whatever. One thing I was going to say is I always attest that too, as well as like, if you don't want to be with me or you're not getting what you need, I am selfless enough to know as an agent and as an operating manager, agent person in your career, I need to let you go.
You must be unique among agents.
Oh, I might yell at you. I might still give you a hard time. No,
you might unfriend me on Facebook.
I might unfriend you on Facebook. Exactly.
I've seen, at least in my experience, which isn't vast, I know that people are bitter in this industry because somebody comes in and they, you help them get to a certain level in their career when somebody from a bigger agency comes in and poaches them away.
Los Angeles real. Let's have real talk.
Yeah, for real.
Real talk.
I do think there is a hierarchy or an unlevel playing field, where as an agent, there's a certain level of expectation and power that's manipulated into a whole combination, and therefore it's sort of expected that you're going to get screwed over.
Okay.
And I also feel that you get to a point in your lifetime, whether it's maturity or experience or whatever, and then also in your professional lifetime as an agent for so many years, where you're pleasantly surprised when that doesn't happen to you.
Well, yeah,
and then you continue to have a prosperous and plentiful relationship with your talent. But I think a lot of times, it's sad. It probably happens more often than not. But I think, agents, and I'm talking about balanced people that are like,
normal people.
Yeah. Like, I'm not talking about like the hardcore, like, agents that are just haggard and miserable and not having fun and enjoying their life.
Yeah, but that comes back to fear. I mean,
it's absolutely fear.
It's like I said, this hoarding quality of like not feeling like you're enough, like you're gonna go get something elsewhere. No, you played a part in my life. Yep. And then you moved on. You were a guest star.
How many breakups have you had?
You were in a series reg.
Yeah. How many breakups have you had where you're like, you still want to hold on to that person and you're not understanding why they're leaving, and you're kind of like, I don't really understand this, and you instantly go to the fear mode, and then you go to, well, good luck for you. You're never gonna find anything better than this.
You'll never work in this
town again. I love that one. I think Ari Gold ruined it for everybody, actually, because I so wanted to be him in real life.
Right.
And then I'm just not that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you don't seem like that.
No, I kind of want to be one day.
You're like the opposite, dude. You're the opposite.
But my favorite quote in life, and I learned this at a young age, is "Do not mistake my kindness for weakness." And I think that that's a powerful statement, because I think people can be kind and generous and supportive in an industry like the fashion entertainment, and still be dedicated and tough and negotiate and and be solid.
Mm-hmm. Well said.
I want to ask Bob Dixon the one thing that we ask one thing, lots of things to all of our guests, but
I'm scared.
If somebody wanted to go on the path of living the dream, which is the tagline of the show, what would be your advice to them?
I want Christian to ask me that question again.
All right, fair enough.
If someone were
I would say keep the beard. And definitely get on the Vikings show.
I don't mean this guy.
No, I would say, what? I mean, he's given us so much of that already.
I'll give it to you. I'll break it down for you.
Stop being so selfish, dude.
That's my biggest weakness.
Thomas needs paint by numbers, and then
Can you spell it out? Can you dumb it down a little bit, Bob Dixon?
Connect the dots. Connect the dots. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I like that you guys are high fiving in here. That's awesome.
We've always
good.
we've never done that before.
I kind of like that.
We actually just did it across your face.
I know.
From the other side.
Whack.
You're in the middle, but
when you see this on the frame, you're in the middle.
Oh, that would be awesome. Can you just like? I think just keeping it real. Is that what you said? Living the dream.
Live the dream.
Leave the dream.
Leave the dream.
Leave the dream.
No, live the dream.
Leave the dream.
Leave the dream.
Leave it.
I'm a dream slayer, so I'll be the first one to tell you you're stupid for even dreaming. No, I just feel like living the dream. What does that mean? You know what? Just be yourself. Wake up. You know, I read a quote. I shared it with you earlier on the way over here. It's like, be your outrageous, creative, wild self every day of your life. And if you are that way,
fucking awesome.
You won't even look back, you know. And it's like, how many times have you just wanted to like scream or dance or run up and down or get buck naked and like run through the crowd or something like that? And how many times have you wanted to do something but you don't, because there's just like that one thing that's like telling you can't, whether it be family member, girlfriend, boyfriend, whomever, or you know, someone will get a snapshot of you doing it and then all of a sudden your whole career is ruined. You know, it's like, we can't be so serious. Like, honestly.
Fair enough. Can I ask you then what you would advise to someone who wants to do what you do?
Absolutely. Hit me up. Hit me up. I'll put you to work. No, I think it's very important to...
Should they start early like you did? You started... I mean, you have a really unique story.
I started early. I did. I started early. But again, I
like
think
5 a.m.
I know.
Like, was that 4:30?
4:30. I started at a young age. Yeah, I did, and I started like something that I don't know. Like I was always working. You know, again, it's sacrifice. Like I don't look back with any regrets. I think that's the point of living your dreams. If there's anything. All right, we're gonna get real. Ready? Los Angeles real.
Yeah.
Click. So I do truly feel this, and I feel like it's something that I have done, and I'm able to continue to do. Is like if there is anything that's like holding you back, or any baggage, or anything that you've not identified or dealt with, you gotta deal with that shit. You gotta get it out of your system, because that stuff is definitely holding you back.
It's huge.
And it's huge. And if you are at a point where you want to do something and you're willing to do the work, you also have to understand the sacrifices. So I look back at college. I worked my ass off full time. I worked in this industry and out of this industry. At one point, I was holding 3 management jobs for like the Gap and some pizza store, and then like some other like, you know, kitchenwares boutique store or whatever. And then going to school, and then going to work as an intern for a modeling agency. You know, now did I get to go drink beer every day at 3:00 at the bar and watch the football games or baseball games? No. You know, did I get to go to like the
or
frat
whatever
parties?
unnamed sport you might have participated in?
Badminton.
Right.
It was badminton.
No, you're a tennis guy.
Table
No,
tennis.
it was basketball, but it was like a really bad situation.
Okay.
Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah,
Thanks
sorry,
for breaking the
sorry
news.
to-
He had to
okay,
know.
but here now we get to the crux of it.
I just
you
was
had
waiting for any of your
You had a
audience.
dream, right? Sports was involved. You were going towards that
Yeah,
dream,
yeah,
correct?
absolutely.
I mean, there's not too many athletes that get invited to play on a collegiate
Scholarship level,
team. Yeah, and
I
even
needed it financially,
Yeah.
and so it was the only means to like get there, you know, because it was
Wow.
like I dabbled in a bunch of other stuff, and I mean, I was even in my mind at best subpar, you know. But now looking back at it, it's like again, I feel like a lot of opportunities happen to us, both good and bad. And I used to believe the phrase, you know, everything happens for a reason. And I actually get really frustrated by that phrase now. Somebody introduced the line, you know, things just happen, period. And it's up to us to find the purpose.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
And
Love
so
that.
for me,
Love
my
it.
knees blew out playing tennis. So you guys were sort of half right.
Ooh, that's
And my friend,
psychic juju.
it was my friend was getting a little bit more competitive than I thought we were participating in that type of game. And so I was like, oh, you're bringing it. Okay. So I brought it back, and then I went this way and went back that way and fell.
Oh, that's the worst.
And at the moment in my life, that was like the worst thing that could happen, because instantly fear took over, and it was like, I'm not going to go to school. I'm going to drop out. I'm the only one in my family who was going to school. I was the only, you know, all those dreams had just crushed. And so getting real on this talk show
we get people to tell secrets.
Yeah, for
it
real.
was a
Me too.
really big, dark time of my life, where then luckily I was snapped out of it and I was able to like move forward. And I realized, you know what? I never wanted to play the rest of my life. I didn't even really like at some point in high school, I just kind of shifted gears and I was like not really doing it because I wanted to. And I feel like this ties back in full circle because I feel like a lot of actors, a lot of models, a lot of people in work are holding on to these jobs that they don't even enjoy doing anymore. And they're holding on to them because A, they've invested so much time into it, and B, they still haven't proven to their family, their significant others, themselves that they've warranted that position, you know, in the roster of actor title or model title. And so what they're doing is they're just holding on to something, that dream, which I think is great, but sometimes, you know, I think you were asking this, when do you hang it up? When do you look at it and say, you know what, I've given too much into it? And again, I can go around and around about this, but look at it as a business, because it is a business. And if you're a business investor, would you continue to invest money, time, and energy into you as a person in your career for that business? And if the answer is yes, then keep going.
That's a great way to look at it, but I would add to that, and maybe this isn't what people want to hear, but if you're willing to if you're willing to put a time limit on it, you probably shouldn't even be doing it.
No, I agree.
Just don't even come here. If you're going to come here and give it a year or give it 3 years, don't even come.
Or give it $2,000.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just, if it's what you want to do, you'll do it until you get tired of doing it, not because you didn't make it in somebody's eyes or, you know.
I mean, it works on my side of the industry.
Enjoy whatever the fuck success means.
Yeah,
you know?
It works on my side of the industry too, because I did it for 15 years and then I just woke up one day and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore.
Exactly.
And I got out and I was able to do something completely different, but it was still tied with entertainment people and musicians and actors and celebrities and all that. And then I got the bug back and I was like, you know what? 2 years ago, I opened up 7 a.m., which, you know, is the same premise that I set up my modeling divisions, as, and ran the modeling divisions with.
Yeah, you're still pimping artists, man.
I'm still pimping artists. Christian keeps it real.
So what's next? What's next for you? I mean, are you just plan to keep growing seven?
Yeah.
Do you work? Sorry to interrupt
No,
you.
it's
Do
good.
you work on both coasts? Do you work?
That is next.
Yeah.
So we celebrated our 2-year anniversary 2 weeks ago. We had a big
Congratulations.
party. Neither one of you showed up for it, but that's cool. Whatever.
We didn't know you then, but that's fine.
I'm just kidding. It's something that we really took into consideration to like grow and expand, and we keep it boutique style. So right now, you know, our number of artists will increase a little bit, and we get a lot of submissions every week, and we just keep it to the highest level. Again, there's a lot of people that are great and talented, but they're just not the right fit for what we're looking at.
Right.
And New York is definitely something we've been talking about. I'm definitely having meetings and entertaining the idea of having some sort of expansion there. So
Makes sense.
yeah, it'll happen. It's just a matter of like finding the right fit and right, you know, opportunity. And expanding and trying to just reach out to more people and
Making connections,
man.
What about
It's
representing
all about
directors?
Directors, we have video. We have a couple
do?
video. Yeah, we do.
Okay.
And I keep getting hit up every single day from friends of mine that are beautiful models that used to do it, that want to get back into it, telling me I should represent them. Christian says don't do it.
To them, not to you.
Yeah. No, it's something that's been, you know, on my mind. So we'll see. I know.
Thank you so much, Bob Dixon, to those that don't know.
I'm not trying to end the interview. Thomas is
coming
always
in.
trying to end the interview, man. But I mean,
Can we keep going?
I could keep going. No, we should cut it off. Yeah, that's what the
Actually,
doctor
Christian forgot to hit record. You
Yeah.
realize that,
We
right?
have to start all over again.
said. We're good, man.
Mop
We're just-
your brow. Let's
like-
do this.
No, thank you so much, man. It means a lot to cross paths with you again and know that the ties that we share, you know, there was a reason for that because, you know, everything happens for a reason.
Everything, yeah, he likes to hear that.
Things happen.
I love that
period.
Things happen,
Yeah.
period.
No, that's
Figure
great,
it out.
man. That's great, man. And you gave a lot of really good advice, dude. We'd love
Thanks.
to have you back when you open up New York or whenever, dude. Just stop by.
I will.
Like, ding dong.
You
Hey,
just
dude,
reminded.
Bob.
Yeah. What's up, guy? I'm never leaving. What are you talking about? I'm gonna have a permanent seat here. I've worked my ass off for this.
Oh, we'd love to have like some of the clients you represent.
Yeah.
You know, send them our way.
That'd
man.
be great, actually. I just want to tap on something you just brought up. the reason why you and I can walk into each other's lives again is because there's no burnt bridges, and it's like an opportunity where you can look at somebody
good point.
and you can look them in the eyes and be like, man, I've wished nothing but the best success for you. And then anytime that we've shown up, you and I have had a genuine connection, and that genuine connection has been now, you know, fast forward to however many years. It's been a couple of years.
Yeah, it's been a long time, man.
Enough
It's been
to
a
make you
long
both,
time.
25,
I
29 years
know.
old?
We were like 11 when we met.
Right.
I'm actually 46.
Yes, I'm 52.
It looks good. You guys look good.
I'm just saying, you know,
Yeah.
it's like I take care of myself because I'm healthy.
Exactly. But I think it's important to hear that, because it's like something where, again, it's like I can walk into a room and run into a lot of people that I haven't seen for a while. And it's like really amazing. It's mind blowing.
That's nice.
Yeah,
Especially in this town.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Most successful people, man, have that quality. Well, not all, but
Yeah.
most.
Yeah.
Being brought here, and it just seems like the more open you are to allowing somebody
Yeah.
to see who you really are.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't. You don't have to fake shit. You don't have to put on a mask. Just be yourself, man.
Yeah. And you
Right?
know what? Haters will hate. They always do, and that's
Let
okay.
the money pile up.
I love that. But no, I wanted to thank you guys too. It's been awesome, and I knew it'd be fun, and it's great. So thank you so much, and I thank everybody that's listening, and hopefully they got something out of it.
For real.
Oh,
man.
definitely, man.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I think Los Angeles needs to be real.
Exactly.
Like, just keep it real.
Did you see what he did there?
I
Did
did.
you see that?
And I'm
This
gonna work.
is-
I'm gonna work on your jingle. I promise you.
Jingle. We need a jingle. That's his homework.
Yeah.
Thank you,
I'm on it.
man.
Bob Dixon, thank you so
No,
much.
thank you guys. Take care.
Alrighty.
Keep living the dream, folks.
Live it.